I've read a lot of books on psychology, neuroscience, behavior change, motivation. I've gone deep into the self-help and productivity rabbit holes. And while some of it was interesting, even inspiring, I've come to a frustrating realization. Most of it didn't actually help me change. Now, it wasn't a complete waste of time. I love learning. And sometimes I'd come across an idea that really did shift my perspective or gave me language for something I'd been feeling. But rarely, very rarely, did it lead to meaningful, lasting transformation. And that was what I was after. Eventually, I started asking why. Why can I know so much about how change works and still feel so stuck? Why do I read something, feel fired up for a day or two, and then go right back to my old patterns? The answer, for me, came down to three core problems. First, I realized that learning isn't the same thing as doing. I know that sounds obvious, but I really mean it. I mean it in a deeper way. Most of the time I was consuming content, whether it was a book, a podcast, or a YouTube video, I wasn't really in a position to act on what I was learning. I was driving, commuting, lying in bed, not taking notes, not applying anything, just sort of passively absorbing. So the ideas stayed stuck in my head, interesting but unused, and unused ideas don't lead to change. The second issue was really about memory. We forget things fast if we don't use them. So even when something felt powerful in the moment, it faded. I'd, read a chapter and felt seen or understood or motivated. And then 3 days later, I couldn't even remember what the core insight was. We remember what we do, not just what we read. So application is really what imprints things on us, what really helps us learn. And without that, even the best advice just sort of drifts away like fog in the sun. But here's the third problem, and maybe the biggest one. I was bored. Not bored of the ideas themselves, but of the ways they were delivered. Worksheets, to-do lists, charts dressed up as transformation. And it all started to feel like homework, and my brain, predictably, rebelled. The truth is, change is hard. It takes energy, it requires focus and effort. So if the process doesn't really engage us, if it doesn't spark curiosity or wonder or joy, it's just not going to last. We'll disengage, we'll move on, not because we're lazy or undisciplined, but because we're wired for novelty, for meaning, for fun. We need more than just insight. We need a reason to keep showing up, a reason that feels good, not just sounds smart. So I started experimenting. I asked myself, what if change didn't have to feel like homework? What if it could feel like a game, like a fantasy adventure? That's when I created Just Roll With It, a journal that blends behavioral science with magic, maps, and monsters. It turns your goals into quests, your habits into spells. You choose a character path like bard, monk, or fighter, and each day you roll dice, move through a mystical land, and face challenges that sort of mirror real-life struggles. And interestingly, you can't move forward unless you apply what you learn. The game requires action, not just intention, not just understanding, actual behavior. What surprised me is how well it worked, not just for me, but for others as well, because it made the process fun. I wasn't just journaling, I was exploring. I wasn't just trying to break a habit, I was casting spells. I felt more creative, more engaged, and weirdly, more compassionate with myself as well. It just sort of gave me a little more distance from my inner critic. And it reminded me that growth isn't just about effort. It's also about play and joy, about trying things, about rolling the dice and rolling again. So if you've been stuck, if you've tried the books, the podcasts, the morning routines, and none of it really seemed to click, maybe it's not your fault. Maybe you just needed a better guide, a better quest. And if that's the case, I'd love to invite you to try Just Roll With It. Just Roll With It is coming to Kickstarter on May 27th. Like and subscribe to stay up to date on our latest release information. Thank you so much for your time. Till next time.